Hello, howdy do. I don't even know if this is working. I'm trying something different here on this, and it's not showing it anyway. What the hell? What's wrong with it? Ta-da! Howdy do. Hey, I'm trying to hear whisper, and this is another no beer review. Oh, Lord have mercy. Anyways, hey, the other day I had an opportunity to try two rye beers, and they were a little different. I wanted to compare two Bill Smitten Golden Rye Ale just became available to me, and I happen to have a bottle of Four Hands Divided Sky Rye. So I wanted to compare the two back to back, or side by side, as it were. So anyway, I'm going to read a touch from Bell's website, and I'm going to tell you what I found. Um, Drawn from one of our oldest recipes, Smitten Ale began as part of a series of rye beers at our eccentric cafe. A combination of sharp citrus and resinous flavors from the hops with earthy rustic overtones of the rye malt contribution yield an interesting take on the American Pale Ale. Okay, what I found was slightly different than that. I didn't get maybe their definition of sharp is different than mine compared to others that I've had, or compared to the forehands I'm going to tell you about here in a little bit. I didn't find it sharp, but you did get some citrus. There was definitely resinous hops. You did get that. You did get some of the rye. Um, I found it fairly muted, not necessarily in a bad way. It is 6%, but I didn't find any of the flavors big. I found them all kind of muted. The rye is there, even from the aroma. Well, I tell you what. Before I do that, I'm kind of let me read from the Four Hands, and I'll kind of tie them both together. The Four Hands Divided Sky Rye. This beer brings together uh, two of our favorite ingredients, hops and rye. Serious hops up front provide a pungent floral and citrus character. We use Centennial, Columbus, and Cascades. This is a hop lover's dream. Yeah, actually, yeah. Here's really the main difference between the two. Well, here I don't usually compare beers, so let me tell you why I'm doing it. Because, well, I, I thought I actually thought they were going to be very similar styles because they're both. When it said golden rye on the bells, I thought, oh, I bet this is similar to the forehands, because you have rye beers out there. I mean, you've got big monsters like Lenny's Bittersweet from Hebrew, and Bear Republic Hop Rod Rye, which is pretty big. Then you've got some more standard, like Sierra Nevada Ruthless Rye. But that's more of a it's called a rye IPA, but it's more of a rye. It's a big hoppy rye. While the forehands is more of an IPA with rye. You see what I mean? It's rye up front. This one's a little different. But here's what I found: the aroma on the forehands was much bigger than the bells. Much bigger. Cut and action. It was much bigger. In fact, everything about the forehands was bigger. The bills are 6, but they don't give me the IBUs. The forehands is 6.5 doesn't give me the IBUs either. But the forehands is bigger all the way around. I'm not saying it's better. I'm just telling you the flavors I've got. They did feel a little more muted on the bills. The aromas were much bigger. In fact, from the first aroma of the forehand everything's bigger on forehand. What I meant to say. Anyway, you get huge rye on the aroma. You could really tell it's there. On the bells you can, but again it's much more muted. And then you get the citrus. Now they said sharp citrus. I didn't get that as much. I did get some grapefruit, and then I don't know, it might be my taster too, because I was getting peach notes on the bills, whereas on the forehands I got this huge grapefruit, tangerine, and the rye was just it was there, man. But both of them though hit you in the same places of the palate. for each thing, the hops, the rye, everything hits you in exactly the same place. It's very interesting to drink them both side by side because there are extreme similarities. It just the Bell's felt like a slightly smaller version. Now that doesn't mean it's better or worse. Again, it's just going to depend what your taste buds like. I've had folks tell me that they don't like rye beers that overuse the rye malt that it can take over. So if that's the case, you might prefer the Bells because the rye is slightly more muted in that one. Again, there's some will say that they don't like hops that are incredibly in your face. Again, the Bells is probably going to be the one you like if that's something you might say. How about that? Anyway, I digress. Hello. Uh, the Four Hands really is. It's not necessarily in your face. It is just bigger. Um, it really is. It's not a rye IPA. It's more of an IPA rye. You know what I mean? Or it's more of an IPA with rye malt. Because the rye is there. You do know it's there. It's very present. You do have the spiciness, but it's not. It doesn't have that big malty backbone. Say that the Ruthless Rye does. It really is a different kind of beer. Even though I am in the dead of winter here and it's colder than heck, it would be a beer extremely pleasant in the spring, summer months because because it's so refreshing. It's a little bit bigger than you would think of a spring session beer to be, but it is incredibly refreshing and yet satisfying all at the same time. Now I want to talk about. I'm probably going to run this a little bit long. Both are good, and you hear me talk about this all the time. In fact, I even been criticized for talking about price. I talk about price more than any beer geek out there because I think it is important. Although many beer geeks want to pretend that price isn't an object. Well, for most Americans it is, and craft beer shouldn't just be just for folks that are well off. It should be for everybody, and it should be affordable. So I speak about value quite often in my videos. Yes, I do. Value. Here's the part that bothers me about the Four Hands I've talked about. Now, I got to say, for my preference, for my taste preference, the Four Hands is the beer that I would probably buy in a perfect world if I had the money, or if these two beers were exactly the same price. The truth is they're not. The Four Hands, if I buy a bottle of it, is $4.99 a bomber. Although I did find the one I bought on sale for $3.99. The Bell Smitten, I found for $8.99 a six pack. So I want you to think about that. I can buy I could buy two bombers, 44 ounces, or for about the same money, I can get 72 ounces, a six pack of Bells. Okay. Now I've already stated my taste preferences. So in a perfect world, I'd buy the Four Hands all the time. But it's not a perfect world. At times are tight. And the truth is, my budget is probably tighter than most beer geeks. Most people on my budget are buying 30 packs. So, I mean, that's just the way it is. So, I mean, I'm allotted about $10 a week on average. So, if that's all I have, I'm going to buy that six pack every time. I just am. Now, I will say that there's a when I am in St. Louis. And able to get out, which isn't often, there is a pub in town that 2 days a week has these pints for $2 a pint. So I mean, I can actually buy the pint, cheaper than buying a. You know what I'm saying? So let's say for the sake of argument, both of these beers are on tap. They're both $2. It's happy hour. I will buy the Four Hands Divided Sky Rye every time. But if we're talking about taking it home, I really have to buy the Bells. It's just the way it is. I wish Four Hands, instead of the Bombers, did put their bottles in six packs and made it affordable, $8.99, $9.99 a six pack, because their stuff is phenomenal. It's fantastic. Urban Chestnut, another brewery you've heard me talk about a lot. Does 16.7 ounce 4-packs that run anywhere from $7.99 to $9.99. Again, not cheap, but not crazy expensive either. So I mean, things should be affordable. You should be able to get good beer at a decent price. And that's my rant on value. So I am going to cut this down. I just want to talk about this because this is a style that I just intensely love. I love rye IPAs, and I love this golden version of that Divided Sky, Four Hands Divided Sky Rye and Bill Smith. Both are fantastic beers, so you should buy both of them like I did. Howdy do. Hey, I'm trying to beer whisper. I'm going to get the hell out of here. I wish I could go have a beer right now. Son of a gun.